Rents rose a record 11% last year.
It is extortion.
Activists want to fix that, so both Minneapolis and St. Paul voted for, and St. Paul voted for
the most stringent measure in the country.
This is meant to curb extractive rent increases, unfair profiteering.
It's predatory practice.
Those are powerful words. But what do the words mean? Profiteering? Profits are what persuade people to build things. When profits are high, other builders rush in to grab those profits. Soon there'll be more housing, and that will lower rents. That's just how markets work.
If we have less supply, prices go up.
Cecil Smith of Minnesota's Multi-Housing Association.
We need more supply. We need more housing.
But studies show rent control reduces the supply of rental housing. Activists don't want to hear that.
We don't need more studies. We don't need to collect more data. We need action now.
St. Paul's actions were uniquely strict.
Many cities exempt new construction. St. Paul's ordinance would not.
It's the most draconian rent control that anybody's ever imagined.
This is such a step backwards.
Mercatus Center economist Salim Firth studies housing.
What St. Paul is doing is actually going to hurt renters because they're going to have fewer choices. The market's going to shrink and quality is going to fall.
St. Paul's mayor voted for rent control, but now has second thoughts.
Turning off our supply of new housing would be disastrous for us as a community.
The mayor voted for it, but now he says, wait a second, we shouldn't apply this to new housing.
Yeah, because he knows that it's just absolutely going to shut down construction. Every rent control ordinance that even lefties have supported has had an exemption for new construction because everybody understood that if you applied this to new construction, you would completely shut it down.
Lenders are going to have to look long and hard about financing a project coming up.
If you don't already have a building, why would you enter a market where it seems like the government is actively trying to hurt you? You're providing an essential service, something that human beings need to live. And if the government there is viewing you as a hostile outsider, I wouldn't want to bring any service into a market like that.
In St. Paul, they can just move a few blocks over to St. Paul's twin city. Although Minneapolis also voted to allow rent control, they've been wary about imposing it.
There'd be a final report by the end of this year so voters could weigh in next year's election.
It matters that we take action now.
This city council member is frustrated that Minneapolis hasn't yet adopted St. Paul's strict rules.
I'm going to keep fighting for a 3% cap with all of you.
I want us to follow their lead.
She's the only Minnesota rent control promoter who'd talk to me. If you're a builder, why would you build in a place where you can't raise the rent more than 3%, which is less than inflation?
If you're a person who lives in this city and you can't stay here anymore, then we don't have a city anymore.
But the way you have a city is if people build apartments and houses, and that's what eventually brings the price down.
In other cities, we have continued to see the development of property continue to happen.
What cities?
In San Francisco, there's continued to be development.
San Francisco? That's a bad example of new development. Builders still build in Minneapolis. Building permits were up 65% last winter. But in St. Paul, they're down 60% because of rent control. You're not going to get more apartments by pushing this. This pause is one of those rare interview moments where silence reveals so much.
I mean,
don't elected officials research issues before imposing government force on others?
I'm going to maintain that guaranteeing housing for people and making sure that they can stay in their homes matters more than anything else does.
You're a socialist.
Yeah.
Where has that ever worked? Again, the pause says it.
I'm doing a just fine job of representing my community.
Rent control is an appropriate tool nationally.
Nationally, socialists believe in rent control too.
Tell landlords that they cannot simply jack up their rents to any rate that they want.
But landlords can't just jack up rents.
They don't set the price. The market as a whole sets the price. The conditions of how many housing units are there, how many people are looking for housing, that's a market. You can't just magic away the fact that more people want to live in your city than you've provided homes for.
I don't wanna pay it.
That's not the popular answer.
I don't wanna pay it.
Progressives everywhere push for rent control.
High rent has got to go. The people want rent control.
People don't learn.
I live in the only town in Maryland that has rent control. We've had it since the 70s. We have not built a single multifamily building since that law was passed.
The late economist Walter Williams once told me,
short of aerial bombardment, the best way to destroy a city is through rent controls.
Rent control once destroyed much of New York City because landlords couldn't make money. Some started fires for insurance, and then
they just let it burn.
And even before the fires, they stopped doing maintenance.
We don't have no water. We have to go outside to get the water because the landlord doesn't want to do anything in the building.
The buildings were awful. They didn't run hot water pipes.
Landlords just don't reinvest. They don't take care of their properties. They don't send a plumber promptly when water starts leaking.
Today, rents are up, and that's hard. But in the long run, rent controls will only make the problem worse.
What we need to do is build more houses. That is the solution to rising housing costs.
Hope you like these videos. They're free, but they're not cheap. Please help us make more. Click on that button.